In a world that shames you for being 30 and still living with your parents, imagine a person who chooses this path. Most people would see this as a failure, as a sign of not having your life together. But what if our reasons might change your perspective on this?
I'm Alex, this is my wife Sarah, and we are on a quest for a more meaningful way of life. To make this happen, we moved to another country and a beautiful house by the lake. It was a big decision, one that wasn't about escaping, but rather about discovering our purpose and finding a deeper connection to nature and to each other.
This whole thing started when we needed a break from our daily lives. At the time, we were working separate jobs, coming home in the evening, exhausted, collapsing in front of the TV. You know the drill. So long story short, we quit our jobs and hit the road. And we were hoping for a little adventure in Sweden. But what started as a fun little road trip turned into something much bigger. As we drove through the country and we had the chance to really dive into the rich nature, we found ourselves drawn in deeper and deeper. So days turned into weeks turned into months, and before we knew it, we were hooked. And we both had the feeling that we just didn't want to leave. Meanwhile, my parents were of course captivated by the many stories we had to tell, and they became interested in also leaving their life in Germany behind. And that's when it really hit us. If we were going to move to the same foreign country, the four of us, why not do it together? So when we stumbled upon a property that had the potential for more than one family, the plan took shape. Move in together, build a second house on the property, and really give this take on multi-generational living a try. When we tell someone about our living situation, we always get the same kind of reaction. It's either an ironical, "Oh, how's it living with the parents again?" Or they straight out say to our face, "I could never do that." But back in the day, living with extended family was actually the norm. You might remember the old stories of your grandparents where they had to share a tiny apartment with their siblings, their parents, their grandparents. They even had to use the same bathwater, and the grandmas cooked for the whole family. Of course, this is extreme compared to nowadays, and it's also due to the circumstances of the time. But in general, communal living has been present throughout human history. Flash forward to today, where a rather different extreme is common. People live in cities together with millions of people, but they don't even know their neighbor. It is highly encouraged that you leave family structures behind, that you make work the sole purpose of your life, and even in the relationship with your partner, it is really important that you stay independent. People are so obsessed with being independent from other people. And they don't even realize that in doing so, they make themselves so dependent on structures that are far less reliable than strong and happy family bonds. Living with family isn't just about the presence, it's about laying the groundwork for our future family. When I think about my childhood, I often think about my grandma, who was a really central figure in our lives. And we used to have plays in her room, and the meals she made I can still taste in my mouth to this day. And this is the stuff that sticks. This is the stuff that you remember, and this is the stuff that becomes part of who you are. Even though we haven't taken the step into parenthood yet, we're really mindful of all the choices we're making. We want our future children to have a childhood that is rooted in nature, that looks like this every day, where we can just go out in the forest, where we can just go fishing with them, and it's just natural. And we want them to have a childhood where family gatherings are an everyday thing and not just a thing you do every once in a while on the weekends or on Christmas. So we're in this not just for ourselves, but for the family we'll have one day. And we also strongly believe in the strength found in shared responsibilities and shared commitments.
today we're gonna make some old classics, some steak, some vegetables, and a little bit of bread. But do you know what the most important thing is that you do not want to miss in your kitchen? A dog who's begging for food. Today is the Easter weekend, it's Sunday, and we're gonna have a barbecue just like last year. I think it's becoming a tradition. The weather is also quite nice, and I don't think that it's gonna take long until we can go out on the lake and do some fishing, do some catch and cook, go out and yeah, just have some camping adventures. It's this in-between season right now, between winter and spring, where everything is kind of just dull. Nothing is really growing. We're quite excited, I guess, for when actually spring starts to happen and everything starts to get green and yeah, life is returning. You can also hear the birds on the other side of the lake. But I think it's turning around. It's just part of everything, so... Yeah, that's ready. So, we gotta start now. For the steaks we're gonna use tallow. It's rich in flavor, so yeah, just to enhance the natural flavors of the steak. Also the tallow it has, I don't know what's it called in English, when the fat starts to evaporate, I guess, that point is quite high, so it's good for heating meat really good, so yeah. Another reason why we use it instead of olive oil or something else.
Of course, not everything is just rainbows and sunshines all the time. Living together requires compromise, and you really have to put in an effort with your communication skills. But just because it's not easy doesn't mean it's not meaningful. Of course, we know that not everybody is lucky enough to have a great relationship with their family, but therein lies an opportunity. Now you can choose to be the first person who does things differently. So embrace the challenge, lean into the discomfort, and dare to be the change you wish to see.
In a meadow where the white rivers roam stood an ancient willow in the storm by the water. She swayed in the breeze. Tell me, Willow, what have you seen? My roots, they go deep and withstand every challenge of time. Though my branches might crack deep inside, I know I'll be just fine. In the eye of the storm, like a willow, I stand where others might break. I gracefully bend to the wind's wild song. A brave heart is born. It's the tale of the willow in the storm. In the shadow where the blackbirds retreat, they find silence to sing wild and sweet. In the branches they peacefully hide, and she guards them like a mother her child. When rain starts to pour, I'm your shelter, your castle, your home. Side by side, hand in hand, when you're with me, you're never alone. In the eye of the storm, like a willow, I stand where others might break. I gracefully bend to the wind's wild song. A brave heart is born. That's the tale of the willow in the storm. A brave heart is born. In the eye of the storm, like a willow, I stand where others might break. I gracefully bend to the wind's wild song. A brave heart is born. That's the tale of the willow